looking like you're playing games with impeachment if you hold on to these articles for too long.
I said what I was going to say, Nancy. We
Fox and Friends in the morning, they're very honorable people.
Just so you know, there's a bill made in order by the Rules Committee that we can call up at any time in order to send it over to the Senate and to have the provisions in there to pay for the impeachment. And then the next step, the whatever you want to call it, the trial. That is where you put the managers. I was not prepared to put the managers in that bill yet because we don't know the arena that we are in. Frankly, I don't care what the Republicans say. Not on this subject. I've said this shit.
She's from Mars, man. They're red there, but like communist red. That's why there's no intelligent life on Mars.
Well, first of all, let's introduce to our audience the legendary godfather of conspiracy theories, the mighty Jordan Maxwell. Thank you, Jordan, for being with us today and for also being very playful with us and with Colin, especially our Mad as a Hatter moderator.
Leo, I appreciate that so very much, Leo. Always happy to be on the air with you. Always happy to be with you.
It's going to be a great show. And today we're going to give also, for the occasion, for the first time, the possibility to some of our viewers, of course, just a limited bunch, to be able to call in. We're going to be giving this number out soon. But before we do that, we're going to be talking, of course, of what is happening nowadays. And also, let's do a brief excursus on the history of Christmas, of this holy period of the year, which is holy for the Hanukkah, is holy for the solstice.
The Anunnaki. The Anunnaki. The Hanukkah is Jewish, man. Forget about Italian pasta, man. Focus.
It is a very particular time of the year, Jordan, and you are the specialist. So you have to really tell us more about it. First of all, remember that a bunch of people are going to start saying, oh, but Jordan says that is the festival when Horus is born, this and that, the Mithras, whatever. The floor is yours, Jordan. Please.
Well, I appreciate it. The Christmas celebration is a wonderful time of year. I love Christmas. It's a wonderful time of year. But I understand it. I understand it from a historical point of view, what Christmas is. Christmas is called, in the thousands of years ago, they celebrated Christmas, but they didn't call it Christmas. They called it the winter solstice. And the idea was that the sun, when it's in the northern hemisphere, the first day of summer, this is important, the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere, in America, in the northern hemisphere, the first day of summer, the sun is as high in the northern sky as it's going to go. It doesn't go any further north. It doesn't go any further north than the first day of summer. Now, on the first day of summer, the sun, because it's directly overhead, right here in the north, we say he's really hot. He's really hot. And now, because when you're really special, people say, oh, he's really hot. Well, the sun is really hot on the first day of summer. 90 degrees or 90 days later, everything is divided into 90. From 1 to 90 is a quarter, and from 90 to the 180 is a quarter, and from 180 it goes around to 360. That's 4 quarters makes up 360. 4 times 9, 36 is 360 days of the year. But that's why all governments in the world have to have at least 5 holidays each year. No matter what country you're in, you need to have 5 holidays. Why? Because the way the world works is we live on 360 days a year. And it's a quarter. So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The 12 apostles represent the 12 signs of the zodiac, or the 12 months of the year. And so once you understand how they laid this religion out, it's actually the worship of the sun. And the sun, in English, you talk to an English professor, which I have in England, and they tell you that there is something called the lazy O. You look it up in a dictionary, lazy O idea in English. A lot of people who study English and know English never heard of the lazy O. But the lazy O, I am told by British professors at Oxford, that it's something called the lazy O, which means that when the English was being developed, they developed two words that sound the same, son. That's why when you have a boy and you get married, you have a boy, he's your son, S-O-N. But in the religion of Judaism and Christianity, the Messiah was called the Son, S-U-N. And that's why Christians go to church on Sunday, because it's worship of the sun. So they call it Sunday. But today, the Hebrews, the Jews, worship their God, the sun, but they worship on Saturn Day, because their God is actually the planet of Saturn. Saturn is the God of the Jews. Today, Hebrews around the world worship the god Saturn.
Now, Jordan, the Jews suffered a lot of internal schism and heresies, especially when we had Sabbatai Zevi, Jacob Frank, and
Right.
all the Sabbatai Frankist movement, that Sabbatai and Frankist movement that nowadays everybody is talking about, at times even in an improper way. What is your point of view regarding this very controversial topic?
Well, I know that I've been able to go back into ancient history, because our religious belief systems go back to the Northern Hemisphere. In Christianity, all of our beliefs in Christianity come from the Northern Hemisphere, not from the Southern Hemisphere. We don't have very much in Christianity that comes from the Maya and the Incas and the Aztecs. We don't have that. What we believe in Christianity comes from the Northern Hemisphere. That's important to remember, so that you begin to understand that when we're worshiping our Messiah, who is referred to as the risen Savior, he is our risen Savior. Why? Because he rose, and he promised he would rise again, even though he was going to die. And so the idea is that from the first day of summer, 90 degrees later, 90 steps around the circle. 90 steps is 90 days. And in 90 days from the first day of summer becomes the first day of fall. So he used to be hot. God's son used to be hot, but now he's not hot anymore. He's falling.
The Muslims celebrate each week on Friday their prayer day, which is the day of Venus, no? What is that connection? Because their symbol is really the moon, but they have this connection with Venus.
Well, Venus is the goddess of love. And so we get Venus from one of the constellations of the zodiac called Virgo. Virgo is one of the constellations of the zodiac, and Virgo is a virgin. And so that's why in the first day of spring, when the sun has gone far south, when
you want to show something, yeah?
Yep.
Actually, I just want to add, that's why Western civilization writes from the right. You start from the from the left to the right, while the other civilizations start from the right to the left. Right?
Now,
that's right.
While you are searching something, Jordan, I would like also to welcome our viewers that today are starting to tune in, even if we start a little bit later from our original previous schedule. I think this is going to be a very successful show, because we want to honestly also understand more about Jordan the Man. Jordan the Man, you told me before we went on the show, I learned about faith from my wife. And I was very touched by this. And I wanted to know a little bit more about this particular topic.
Leo, hang on. There's a message from our supreme leader. He wants to say something.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
And make Christmas great again, thanks to Donald Trump, too.
Absolutely.
One of his achievements, huh?
Absolutely. In fact, we have in the background, which is actually my own Christmas tree. If
I will make a prophecy. I will make a prophecy.
Oh, my God.
See if it's going to be right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Maxwell is making a prophecy.
Yeah. I'm going to make a
The
prophecy.
last prophecy.
Okay, go for it.
I believe that next October, we got almost over a year. Next October, we're going to see some terrible, terrible tragedies happening in America. Revolutions, violence, overthrow of the government. Terrible things are going to happen in October or begin to happen in October and will continue through December.
Now,
It's going to be
are you saying this because of what is happening politically or what is reflecting in the astrological sense?
an astrological.
Okay, so there is a convergence here of the elections, the next elections, of course,
November.
but
Yeah.
then there is also a convergence with some particular planets that are coming together. Which are these planets, Jordan?
That's the what's coming together is Mars. Mars is the god of war, and Scorpio, the constellation of Scorpio. Scorpio represents a scorpion, and scorpions are deadly. They're backbiters. They hit you from the back. They're backbiters. And so scorpions are deadly, and Mars is war.
Now we open the show.
And also the President Trump, his birthday. President Trump was born so that next year, in his birthday, Mars and Scorpio are going to hit together on him. He's going to be hit by Mars and Scorpio. Well, that's talking about war that's deadly. Scorpions are deadly.
We have seen at the beginning of the show this insane person, which is Nancy Pelosi. And we were, before we started the show, you yourself told me she should be removed from anything she's doing because she's literally insane. Your prophecy, is it concerning the fact that the Democrats will not be able to overthrow Trump with their farce impeachment and they will basically unleash on the US their Antifa craziness and all the rest?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They are so intent on getting rid of Trump that they are like mentally deranged. They want him out so bad, and if he doesn't go out and he turns on them, and they find out that he's not going to be that easy to overthrow. He's got powerful friends behind him, very wealthy and powerful people in the world are betting on him. And they have the money and they have the power and the political clout to make sure he stays in office.
But he also has most of the Americans with him, Jordan, because America is doing great. I mean, unemployment is down. Everything is going well in the stock market. And we can say that, generally speaking, Americans are actually better with Trump than they were with Obama or with Bush or with...
Well, Obama was nothing more than a turncoat traitor. He was a traitor to this country and to Western civilization. He should have been chased out of town and most people wouldn't even look at such a goofball.
But instead, he got a millionaire book deal. He got another deal with Netflix.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you sell out. When you sell out, that's what happens. You get big movie deals, big book deals. You make lots of money, get all the prostitutes and all the whores. Why? Because you sell out. You're not worthy of being called a man. You're a sellout. You sell out to the enemies of this country.
And
that's what he did. That's why he can buy beautiful $1 million homes in Abu Dhabi. Why? Because he sold out to the trader, like a trader would. He sold his country. He sold his country out.
Vineyard there.
He's gonna mention exactly Martha's Vineyard, 100 yards away from the beach, and he was claiming all the time when he was president there was global warming and the rise of the waters, and then he goes and buys a property 100 yards away from
Now-
the beach. Come
Now,
on.
Jordan, I want to make you. I want to have an opinion from you. I was really looking forward for this show to ask you this question today. What do you think of Greta Thunberg? Because I have seen in the actions of Greta Thunberg those antichrist actions, also aligned with that Maitreya style that was implanted in the United Nations. Suddenly we have her appear in front of the world out of nowhere. There was apparently a camera already when she was in front of the Swedish parliament from the very beginning. She was really raised for this role. What do you think of Greta Thunberg, Jordan Maxwell?
What was the name again?
Greta Thunberg, the Swedish girl who
I'm gonna
is
put it up.
basically becoming the voice of this big climate change farce.
I know many, many years ago, I heard, well, I can't remember his name, who was talking about Maitreya. The prophet Maitreya was coming. And I went to see him in his office. He had
Benjamin
an office.
Krim. Was that Benjamin Krim?
Yeah, Benjamin Krim.
Yeah.
I went to see him in his office in North Hollywood, California. He had an office in North Hollywood. And I went there to see him because I was interested in what he was talking about, Maitreya. And then I found out that he's nothing more than a front for the Illuminati. He was just a front, like all these other religious leaders who are running for office and talking so publicly. Then you find out they are being financed by international bankers who give them money to go out and preach and tell the world what the bankers want to hear. And so that's why I now know that this whole idea of Maitreya and the last days and the Messiah and all that stuff is nothing more than Masonic philosophies. It's a very ancient philosophy adopted by the Masonic order.
But I will also specify that it's not the whole Masonic order here, but that part of the Masonic order which walked out in 1877 with the Grand Orient of France and gave the basis to the Theosophical Society for their co-masonry, which led also women within lodges, and Annie Besant started to work on the first project, as we know, also with feminist groups, but also on the Maitreya with Krishnamurti. So they all really fit together, these things.
They do. That's right. They do all fit together. And the whole idea of the Theosophical Society with Helena Blavatsky laid out the plans for what I know to be the communist revolution throughout the world. There is a very dark part of the world politics today that people don't see. But the real money, the powerful people in the world who are behind the secret societies, who finance these secret orders, they are pushing the idea for a world revolution called World Revolutionary Movement. And this is why they're making movies in Hollywood about the World Revolutionary Movement. The James Bond movies were all made about powerful people behind the world scene causing trouble in the world. According to the whole world was being caused trouble by the Illuminati. And this is what you see in the James Bond movies. And James Bond always,
the golden eye.
That's it. And the last one, what's the last one that just came out called Spectre?
Yeah. The one that they did in Rome, the one which, of course, was evidently based on a plot with a secret society, because for the first time, the spectre was really portrayed with a ring, with a whole structure, which, of course, also emanated from Rome. Rome is the place, like we discussed.
Rome is the center for all of it. All roads lead to Rome.
And actually, we were discussing this yesterday on my show with my co-host John Barnwell. The importance of Rome is often underestimated by people here in the United States.
No doubt about that.
And I showed the pictures and actually a video of Nancy Pelosi going with a bunch of Democrats to almost worship and kiss the hands of the Italian president, who is from Sicily, in 2016, and everybody was like, what is she doing? All these Americans, and they are the same politicians who are now impeaching Donald J. Trump. So we
today we call the Pope the Holy Father. Why is he the Holy Father? Well, because he is our connection with God. He's
our alleged connection with God, because it depends.
So if he has connections with God and he's the Holy Father, then he is the Godfather.
He's definitely the Godfather. That one, there is no doubt on that.
That's where it comes from, Godfather. Pope represents God, and he's the Holy Father. And we're in Rome. Go back to Rome. All roads lead to Rome.
But in fact, Spectrum could be the Spectre, the organization in the James Bond movie, could be accumulated to the organization called the Entity, which is in the Vatican, presiding over all those matters, interfacing with Secret Service operatives. But of course, then we have also the Jesuits. We have the Jesuits who have been working for hundreds of years to sabotage Protestantism and basically becoming the bulwarks of Counter-Reformation. So,
are you aware, let me ask you something, are you aware of a particular church in Rome called the Church of Gesù?
Sure, it's in Piazza del Gesù. I've actually made a documentary, which I think is on my channel, and people maybe are able to check it out from my old. I did this documentary because you see, Piazza del Gesù is a very important place in the old days.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. You're right. It's very important place.
Actually, we have Colin who is playing around. Maybe he can find some images of it. It's definitely a place where they brought tons of gold from South America, and they built this lavish church to then. It's basically the mother church where all the Jesuits are initiated. One thing that the people need to understand is that the Jesuits don't have any form of democracy. The general decides for every office in every single house of every single province. So it's basically a complete dictatorship.
And in order for him to do that as well as he does it, it implies he has demonic direction. He's not doing it on his own. He's being led by demon forces to do what he does.
Now, in my latest book, which is coming out next week, and I'm going to send you because it's based on all this, and it's a book I'm sure you will appreciate. I talked a lot about the spiritual exercises of Ignazio Loyola that were devised by Ignazio Loyola inside a cave. Now, inside the cave, there is specific kind of energies, Jordan, and you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So please tell us more about what you know. It's like Mohammed in a cave. No, then you have Ignazio Loyola in a cave. You always have these people who are picking up some form of contact from a cave.
That's right. And that's why today, in all our sci-fi movies, they always have caves where they're meeting the extraterrestrials, they're meeting underworld organizations. Caves have always been connected to mysterious meeting places that people go to. Certain kinds of people go to the caves and have their secret meetings. I've been to some of those caves in Los Angeles. I've been to some caves up on the mountains of Los Angeles overlooking Hollywood. Some really very interesting caves with all kinds of strange writing on the walls, paintings.
Are
And
these caves
yes,
secret to the majority of the populations? I
yeah,
mean,
the majority population don't even know they exist. I was taken there. I was taken there to see this place, this cave, where they have human sacrifices. I was brought there by one man who knows about it because he worked for the big studios and he knew about these places where they do the rituals, they do the sacrifices. And he called me and said, I want to take you out. He called me and said one morning, I want to take you out to breakfast, Jordan. I want to talk with you. And I work for the big studios. I work and drive the big trucks for the studios. And you were talking about the human sacrifices and all the demonic depravity and the demonism. I know all about it. I want to take you and show you those places. So he came by and we went out to have breakfast, and then he took me to the caves up in the Hollywood Hills. And I've seen places where they had human sacrifices. I've even seen the altars where they laid the babies on the altars. I was there. I wasn't there when they did the sacrifices, but I've been there where it happened, and I know where it is today. And a lot of people don't know it's right in the middle.
somebody wrote on the comment board Bronson Caves.
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
Bronson Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm showing them now.
Hmm.
I was actually looking for them, the Bronson
Okay,
Cave.
let me show them to our viewers. So, where are they based? Near LA, eh?
Yeah, it's in Los Angeles.
Okay. Colin, if you could keep the images that you had before, so I could, because I don't.
I wish I would have known. I
Sorry.
took of that cave. I have pictures I took of that cave with all the writings on the wall, and they have fire pits. That's it. That's where I was at. I've got pictures of me
Bronson
standing
Caves,
right
yeah.
there, and I have pictures of the round holes in the ground where they made a fire, where they were burning flesh, and it was. And I've got all kinds of pictures I took of that area. I walked right through all that area. That's what I was talking about.
Hey Jordan, do you remember these experience with this actor and the chauffeur that took him to a place in Mulholland Drive? And then
Yeah, I
opened up.
think. Yeah, there's a place up on Mulholland Drive I was taken to. I know where it is. I was taken there to see the altar where they put people on the altar and sacrifice them. So, I mean, that's what I was told, and that's what I saw. I saw blood on the altars. And so I'm not surprised. It doesn't surprise me that something like that's taking place in Los Angeles. I totally believe it is because I was there and I saw the remains. And so there's a lot of strange, dark magic going on in Hollywood.
Now,
with it.
is this connected also with the ley lines that are supposedly going through Hollywood and that are specific to the energy that also?
I think there might have. I think there probably is something to do with ley lines because geomancy is very big among these magicians. We talk about the magic of Hollywood. That's important. There is a magic in Hollywood, but it's not sleight of hand. You know, when you see the magician play with his cards, and do all of his tricks with the cards.
It's magic with a K.
Yeah, it's magic with a K, but it's
Like,
not real magic.
Aleister Crowley, yeah.
It's called sleight of hand. Watch his hands the way it's moving. Called sleight of hand. But that's not real magic. Magic comes from the word magi, M-A-G-I, magi. Magic is occult supernatural powers around you. And they're making movies about these things.
Well, also because magus is in Latin connected to the image. So the projection of an image for magical means is basically what is happening in Hollywood. Right.
Now, I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I'll say it again because it bears witness to what we're talking about. In Europe, before the Roman Empire existed in Europe, there was already a large population in Europe, north, east, west, and south of Europe. There was already large amounts of people. There was no Roman Empire, but there was a lot of people living in Europe at the time. And when the Roman Empire came into existence, it started taking over all those little groups of people and bringing them into the empire. But those groups of people that were already in Europe before the Roman Empire existed, they were called Druids. And Druids are where we get today what we call Judaism. The Jews today are the Druids of yesterday. And so in Europe, the Druids were a very powerful civilization in Europe. North, east, west, and south of Europe was Druidic. And this is why anything that happens in the north, east, or west, or south becomes known as news, N-E-W-S, north, east, west, and south. And so in Europe before the Roman Empire, there was a very important organization of humans living in Europe, and they were called Druids. And they had a very powerful symbol for their power, their magical power. And
Now-
that magical symbol was a magic wand.
Now,
Like-
it's been in archaeological discoveries that have been done in recent years. It's been confirmed once again that the Druid did human sacrifice.
Yes.
Now, we know that in the last 300 years, aside from speculative Freemasonry, we had also rising two groups of Druids, of modern Druids. One of them also saw the membership of Winston Churchill, Sir Winston Churchill, we are seeing now. And basically, they involved also the Queen of England, who, of course, after her coronation, participated to one of the rituals. Do you think the modern Druids that we see once a year in Stonehenge are still in some way connected to human sacrifice?
You know, I tend to think not, because the idea of human sacrifice has become so reprehensive to the people of this world. I don't think that they would, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I don't think that the modern day Druids would involve themselves in something like blood rituals of humans, because it would be very bad for business if it ever came out that they were actually sacrificing humans. So I don't think they're actually doing that anymore. But they symbolically do that.
Okay.
Like they,
A sort of mocking sacrifice, like we saw in the Bohemian Grove when Alex managed to get in and film, and that kind of thing.
Well, what I was going to say is that the Druids, one of the most important political symbols in the ancient Druid community in Europe, was a magic wand. Like the Merlin the magician with his magic wand, and Moses with his magic wand. And look at all the different prophets in the Old Testament Bible, they always carried magic wands. And all over Europe, in churches in Europe, they will have pictures of drawings and paintings in churches all over Europe of Jesus raising the dead with the magic wand, and Jesus doing this and that with the magic wand, and feeding the children, feeding the poor with magic wands. And then you also have orchestra conductors leading the orchestra. He's orchestrating the music with a magic wand. The point I wanted to make is that magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. Magic wands were made out of holly wood. And this is why today we have something in Southern California called Hollywood. The magic of Hollywood. No, the magic of Hollywood is legitimate, de jure, real, spiritual magic that's going on in Hollywood. It's not the wonders and the beautiful ideas are in Hollywood in the movies. No, real stuff is going on where the sacrifice.
But in fact, what I suggest Colin should go and search now is not only a documentary made on Kenneth Anger about Hollywood Babylon, but also the I think it was 1991. I'm not sure. No, I don't think it was 1991, but actually I think it was 2001 when they eventually placed this sort of shopping mall, which is now next to the Kodak Theater, which is all built like resembling this famous film which shows the gates of Babylon. And basically they are showing the images of Enki, of
Yeah.
and it's right in your face. It's like they are not hiding anymore.
No, they're not hiding anymore. It's the reason why they don't need to hide it anymore, because the power that comes from that ancient magic is so legitimate. It's real, and you don't want to mess with it because you can get killed playing with that kind of magic, because it's so strong and so legitimately real. That's why they don't have to hide it anymore. It's a ritual that brings on profound power, political power and monetary power in Hollywood. And therefore they don't need to hide it anymore. There's nothing you're going to do about it. You just continue to support Hollywood by going to movies and paying the money to go to see the movies, never realizing you're paying the big studios to go see the demonic depravity that the druidic Hollywood is putting out into the world today. And this is why our world that we live in is so loony today. It's so crazy. So many things going on. Alcoholism, drug addiction, wars, violence, youth and revolutions, etc. It's all because of Hollywood. Hollywood has been propagandizing the world.
But there is a positive sign in the last year, actually in the last couple of years. Hollywood is really losing a lot economically as an industry, is really going through a crisis because they are not grasping anymore the attention of the majority of people who are not feeding into the rubbish anymore. They are not believing into their propaganda machine any longer. When a Hollywood star comes out today criticizing Donald J. Trump, like for example the actress from Star Wars, as soon as the film came out, and it happens with every single actor, they always have to talk with nonsense, which is, I couldn't care less if Robert De Niro dislikes Trump. I might like his movies, but the fact is that in the last couple of years he's been so hideous in what he has said that I don't watch even his movies anymore, Jordan.
I know, I don't either. But you are aware that there is something going on in Hollywood, that when one actor dies, there'll be two more. There's always three people in Hollywood who are very important. Always, when one dies, three die. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, well, it sounds like a Chinese in Italy. When they never die in Italy, they always get replaced. They are
I
immortal.
can imagine. Yeah.
No, but I understand the concept. It's like they are transmitting their office to posterity, basically, you're saying, Jordan.
Well, I'm just saying that the whole idea of being a celebrity in Hollywood implies that you are under the power of some sort of a hidden, dark energy of power and political power in Hollywood.
Now, Jordan, we are having 1 week from now on my show, maybe the only Hollywood person that has the courage to rebel to all this, which is Roseanne Barr, a very controversial actress, comedian.
What was her name?
Roseanne Barr.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
She's going to be joining me next week. I think that really it takes courage to rebel to all that, because, I mean, she has obviously lost everything last year when she went against the system, a couple of years ago when she started to really...
Yeah, I heard.
What is what you would like to say to her?
Oh, I would love to talk with her in private.
Okay.
Because she
I will tell her that.
Yeah.
So Jordan, we are in the year 2019. Next year, we are in the year 2020, a year that has been talked about for a long time. It's a very particular year. We have talked already before about the astronomical connections. How is going to kickstart this new year?
Well, let me tell you something. I'm wondering if there isn't a connection here, that spiritual connection with next year that a lot of people have missed. Because perfect eyesight, we are told that perfect eyesight is 20/20 vision. If you have 20/20 vision, you can't get any better than that. You got perfect vision, 20/20 vision. Well, next year is 2020, and I'm assuming that we're going to see some stuff next year we're not going to believe, because you're going to have perfect vision and you're going to see some stuff you didn't know existed. And so it wouldn't surprise me if that 20/20 vision is going to shock you when you see what's really going on, and we're going to see it with 20/20 vision.
Our Supreme Leader has 30/30 vision. Hang on.
ISIS has spread like cancer.
Now, Jordan, in the last 3 months in particular, I have written a series of articles, and actually I've included a lot of these topics also in my book, which is coming out next week, volume 4 of my confessions. First, we had the Pachamama controversy, the procession during this Amazon synod with these statues then thrown into the Tiber and then recovered. Then we have Moloch placed at the entrance of the Colosseum. Now, last week, I've also wrote about an image in a contemporary art museum in Rome of Jesus with an erection. And on top of all this, on a Sunday evening last week in Rome, they were singing a Marxist song known as Bella Ciao during the Mass, honoring communism in a Catholic church. All this is frustrating traditional Catholics that are saying that the 7 years of tribulation of Pope Francis will end because he has been elected in March 2020. It will be 7 years since he has taken his office. And at that point, they foresee the destruction of Rome. Your thoughts on this, Jordan?
I think that we as humans have been led to believe things which are based on occultism that's not of this world. I am totally convinced that there is, in point of fact, extraterrestrial intelligence. And that extraterrestrial intelligence has given us our religions, our philosophies, and our political opportunities in our governmental systems, and it continues to lead our minds along some kind of a preordained occult connection to something which is coming in the future. The whole human race is being completely reformed and rebalanced. We're becoming a totally different kind of creature with the artificial intelligence, with our high technology. We are now, as humans, being led into a new world order. And I believe that new world order has been planned for a long, long time by Rome and the powers. Rome is not the problem. It's the secret societies behind the Roman Empire. The money behind the government is where the real trouble is. It's like in America. It's not the U.S. government. It's the people, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the people with the big money who are behind the government. And they make sure the government does what they want done. And so when you see the wars and see all the criminality, that's all the bankers who are financing the organization. They're financing the government. And so that's why we don't have any way to stop it, because we don't have the money to stop it. But the international bankers like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, and all these guys with the big money, they have lots of power because they have the money and the power. And so they are causing our government to do things which are getting us in more and more trouble, but that's what they want. They're financing our ultimate destruction. and we just go along with it. And once in a while, you get a president that knows what's going on and doesn't want to have anything to do with it, like Trump. And the first thing you find out is they want to kill him. They want him to be assassinated. They want to kick him out. Why? Because the big bankers, they don't want this.
Rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people.
We got there, Uncle Donald, and we got a number just right there. You guys can call in. There's 970-577-6369. You can leave a message.
And we have our first caller ever.
We have a winner.
Hello, welcome to the show. So who we have here?
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, Leo, and hello, Jordan Maxwell. I'm absolutely astounded that I've reached you guys here today. Happy holidays, by the way. And my name is Lawrence, also known as Zero Infinity. How are you guys doing today?
Very well.
Very well, thank you.
Merry Christmas, man.
Will you like to ask a question?
Thank you so much, sir.
Will you like,
Yes.
like to answer a question to Jordan or to me or to Colin?
Ask. Yeah.
Yes. For the past year, I have been in certain people who've been doing research primarily on the Zionists, and I feel like they've been stuck, naming the Jews and things like this, and they're not looking beyond just the religious aspect. And I always refer to them as that they should look not at the merchant class, but also at the higher class who control the actual narrative and civilization, and that would be the dark priesthood class.
Well, I will first of all
comment on it.
I will first of all intervene myself because I dedicate a whole chapter to this topic in my new book to make clarity, because I think it's very important. It's very important that we distinguish what is really happening within the Jewish world. Like we talked earlier on, the Sabbatean Frankist heresy is part of what you are talking about. So people mix up all this, and in the end, the Rothschilds, who are not really real Jews who believe in the real traditions of their faith, but in an heresy, are basically are basically ruining the name of the Jews, and they are incentivizing Zionism. And I'm sure that Jordan agrees. So Jordan, please.
No doubt about it. Yes, I was going to say that something you might want to keep in mind too, Leo, in your studies, that there is, in point of fact, some kind of a connection, which is very dark and very well hidden for many years. People have never known about it. Very hidden connection between Judaism as a religion and Nazism as a political presence on the earth. Nazism and Judaism share a lot of stuff.
But actually, the point of contact in my studies is basically the Sabbatean Frankists, because they were in a specific island in Turkey, the island of Salonico, and in this island they interfaced with people like Rudolf Ossenbottendorf, who became then the founder of the Thule Gesellschaft, who then helped the founding of the Nazi Party, of the NSDAP. So I think that this is already a good start. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I think you're exactly right. And I think there's more to the story yet.
Yeah.
Because
sorry, Jordan, excuse me. So you're talking about Sabbatean Zevi, right, Leo?
Yes, Sabbatean Zevi,
yeah.
And obviously later on you have his reincarnation, or his claimed reincarnation, which was this Jacob Frank. And the interesting thing is that these covert Jews, because you see, Sabbatai Zevi in 1666 converted officially to the Islamic faith, leading a new trend in the Jewish faith, Jordan, which I'm sure you agree, it's a very bad trend, because it created these covert Jews that pretend to be one thing, but in reality they are doing another.
Something totally different, yeah.
And
1666 Isn't that the act of 1656 with the Feste Vipras?
I've seen many pictures in my research, many pictures of Hitler giving the Kabbalistic hand sign before large audiences. He's giving a Kabbalistic Jewish symbol before a large audience. I got photographs of that.
But the thing, Jordan, is that people need to understand, and I had a special a few weeks ago, which people can find on my channel, which has seen the participation of a friend of the late Barry Camish, which I'm sure you remember. And we talked about all this misinterpretation of the Jewish people and of the Jewish faith, because these heretics, they promoted sexual magic. They promoted human sacrifice. Jacob Frank, in the end, he became even a Catholic and made a deal to get 20,000 Jews to convert to Catholicism. And then he got the title of Baron in exchange. So here we are really seeing something that is not traditional Jewish faith. That's why I really want to clear this point up, because then you create misconceptions, and that's why David Icke then was attacked so much, and recently couldn't even enter Australia because of what happened with and now even him is starting to talk about the Sabbatean Frankists. So he's starting to redirect his own study. What do you think about
Jordan has a really good story about Frankenstein and the Sabbateans, right, Jordan? The Frankies.
Yes. Well, there is a connection between the Sabbateans, the Nazi Party with Adolf Hitler, and the occult Jewish religion, not the regular Jewish religion that you read in the Bible, but there's a different religion that's being practiced around the world by people who call themselves Jews, but they're not Jews. They're using that title so that you say anything about them, they can say you're anti-Semitic.
Of course.
No, not anti-Semitic.
And to insulate themselves.
Yeah.
It's like a way of weaponizing the Anti-Defamation League. It's all about that.
Yeah. But all over the world,
Old religion? Is that what they're practicing?
Yeah, I would say that's what they practice in Jordan. The Sabbatean Frankists were actually practicing indulgence through sin, because they believe, most of all, that they will be able to manifest the end times only if they sin enough. That's the thing.
That's right. Only if they sin enough.
Yeah. So I hope we gave you a good
balance, right?
Yeah. I hope we gave you a good answer, and we will give also the possibility for other, of course, viewers and listeners to intervene. Thank you so much for being. Sorry?
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
God
Thank
bless
you, Lauren. Merry Christmas, man.
Merry
Have
Christmas.
a nice one. Thank you for calling.
It was great to have somebody. We have already another call, of course.
My God, he's hot. That's the hotline there.
We're very popular. So who we have online?
How are you, Leo?
Hello.
Jordan Maxwell and the other gentleman on Calator Mensa. Long time.
Calling here.
Leo. Love your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So where are you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Okay. Any questions for Jordan?
Yeah, I like how you opened up the show about the contrast between the sun, S-U-N, and the sun, S-O-N. And it leads directly into, I want to ask, how aware is he of Sunday being venerated around the world and the Roman Church pushing for that, as it did in the past? That it's encoded in the Pope's encyclical Laudato Si, that the United States is actually going to do this first. How aware is he of this plan?
Jordan?
Well, I'm not understanding fully because I didn't understand it too well. What was he? What was the
question? How aware is he of the plans to reinstitute veneration of Sunday worship?
Well, I think it's going to happen because that's what the world, all of mankind is involved in, is sun worship. All of mankind is involved in sun worship in one way or another in our religions. Our religions are all based on worship of the sun. If you go to any synagogue in the whole world, any synagogue, you will see that the Jews will tell you that the name of God is so holy and so important that you cannot use the name of God. You should not use it.
Right.
But if you want to talk about the God of the Jews, there is a word that the Jewish population of the world says is okay to use. It's all right for you to use the name which represents the Almighty God, but it is not God's name. It just represents the name of God, and that's called the Tetragrammaton.
Yodhe
It's called the Tetragrammaton. That's not God's name, but it represents the God of the Jews. It's called Tetragrammaton. And the Tetragrammaton is always inside of a sun symbol, always inside of a round sun, and the sun is very yellow, and it's got the spokes of the sun rays, and the inside there are 4 Hebrew letters called Tetragrammaton. And the Jews will tell you that it's all right to use that word Tetragrammaton to use God's name. There it is. See the round letters, the 4 letters around the round sun. Yeah. So that's called the Tetragrammaton. Why is it called Tetragrammaton? Well, you can see on the right the round sun, the round yellow with the 4 letters inside. That's the name of God in Hebrew that it's all right to use. It's called Tetragrammaton because it's tetra is 4. Well, there's 4 letters.
4, right.
Greek.
Tetra is 4. Gram, Gramm, gram is a letter like A, B, C, or D is called a gram. Tetragram of 4 letters for the God of the Jews, Aton, A-T-O-N, Tetragrammaton. That's the name of the God of the Jews. Aton, the sun god of Egypt. Go look it up in the dictionary. A-T-O-N is the sun god of Egypt, God the sun. And so the Jews are still worshiping the sun god, but it's the most eclectic religion on the earth. The single most eclectic religion on the earth today is Judaism. By eclectic, I mean like a smorgasbord in a restaurant. You can take a little here, take a little of that, take a little bit of this, and take a little bit of that, and put it all together in one plate. We'll call it Judaism.
But it's also true, and we have to say that, Jordan, otherwise it will create misconceptions, that there is traditional Judaism that is a good thing in a way because it's not is prohibiting certain practices like magic and so on. And then instead we have these dark forms of Judaism that became heretical, that were actually prohibited by most rabbis. There was a big war against the Sabbatean Frankists that was fought within the Jewish community. So, I mean, it's important that we also give to the right, to the people of Jewish faith also what's right. I mean, they are also a faith that has brought a lot of positive things. And
I know that. There's no doubt about that. But that is not because of the religion of Judaism. It's because they have been taught and child have been brought up to respect decency and to stand up for what is right and be decent.
Well, we see also the difference now when you are in the Middle East and the only country where actually they have a civil Western approach is actually Israel, because the rest of the Middle East is a mess, Jordan.
I know that, but what I'm saying is that Judaism as a religion has inculcated a lot of pagan ideas and belief systems over the thousands of years. And one of them is the worship of the sun god of Egypt, Aton. That's why the name of God in Hebrew is Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton is the worship of the Aton, or the Egyptian god of the sun.
Because
that's why.
Gerald Massey said, they are like a breakup group from Egypt, basically. And this was also a theory that was portrayed within Illuminati lodges.
I think maybe they are, because they're worshiping the Aton, the tetragram Aton.
So you will actually claim that Aton could be Moses in some way?
No, I'm saying I believe that there was, in fact, and point of fact, there was no Moses. No Moses ever existed.
This
Just
is
as-
very controversial. This is very controversial what he's saying.
Yeah, well, the truth is always very controversial.
I've heard you state that many times before, and I agree with your foundational position that Judaism, this breakoff Judaism, is an eclectic mixture of a lot of different religions, and foundationally it has a lot to do with Babylonian Talmudism. That's very evident,
Well, Moses is not a name.
Myself, and having taken it in high school, I mean, it was like getting a little primer there. I'm aware of a lot of the things you say, but it's good to have it refreshed. And thank you for your reply to my question. I'll hang up now.
Thank you. We will give also space, of course, to other people who want to intervene. Thank you for intervening.
Thanks for calling, man. And remember that something that Jordan said was very important, that actually Moses is not a name, it's a title. So Moses is not a name. Also, there was psychiatrist, very famous one. He wrote about Moses being Akhenaten.
Yeah, what was his name? I remember that.
It was not Carl Jung. It was Sigmund Freud. Sigmund
Freud. That's right.
And 3 months later, he almost got killed.
I don't doubt it.
And was saved by, I think it was a dwarf, a man, because he was trying to get his mole taken out or something, and they tried to poison him, and some retarded man or some dwarf, I don't remember the story, I remember vaguely.
Now somebody here calling is and this is actually a topic before we end the show I would like to touch, because it's also part of my latest book, Atlantis. Atlantis has always played a very important role in the various mystery schools. It has played an important role in the Jesuits with Athanasius Kircher and his studies on the map of Atlantis and so on, but also the studies on Lake Titicaca, who was said to be the city of Atlantis. And of course, there is Paul Lecour, which is this character who made some very interesting studies, which was particularly followed by what then became the Priory of Zion and all that part of things. Can you tell us more about that, Jordan?
Well, you know better than I do about the profound presence in Italy of secret societies, Masonic orders, and the mafia, La Cosa Nostra, and it's the political system in Italy for the past 1,000 years has been very, very violent, very scary, and with the coming of Giuseppe Mazzini and Adriano Limi and some of the other Italian mafiosis.
Well, we can say that the mafia has always been part of Sicily, because Sicily has a background that goes back to
it goes back thousands and thousands of years.
And of course, people forget, like yesterday, we touched on the arrest of over 300 people and various representatives of regular Freemasonry connected in Calabria. And I've also exposed how some of them were actually people who were suing me for defamation for saying things that are now being proven to be right because they are being arrested. So now I'm going to sue the Italian government for what they have done to me and my family, Jordan.
Yeah.
This has really been a big injustice. But aside from that, the ancient Atlantis and the connection, of course, we know with the Timaeus, with Pythagoras, then with Athanasius Kircher, with the Jesuits, the Atlantean adepts. This knowledge goes back to the time of Atlantis, Jordan.
That's exactly what I think. I think that's where all of our knowledge is coming from Atlantis. I believe that Atlantis did exist, and it does exist under the ocean today in the Atlantic Ocean. And I think that a lot of our belief systems are based on the ancient Atlantean beliefs. And I've been close friends with Manly Palmer Hall and people like that. I have known them personally and studied under them, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're right when they say Atlantis gave us the foundation for what we are today. Our belief systems, our political systems, our philosophies, all came from a higher civilization.
But then
Far.
all the stories of Atlantis talk of a clash, of something bad that happened, something that at one point these Atlantean adepts dealt into black magic. They went the negative path. That's why.
That's right. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. But they did exist. That's my point.
Yeah.
They did exist.
But are they the ones who are carrying that dark phase through our society that ends up with Nancy Pelosi and goes all the way back to Atlantis, going through the Jesuits? Because, you know, Nancy Pelosi was hanging out in Georgetown when she met her husband.
I know.
People don't know that. And in Georgetown, there is a secret society known as the Stewards. Let's answer. We have another listener.
Nancy
Welcome to the
Pelosi
show.
does a lot of drugs.
Hello.
Nancy Pelosi, she is high on drugs.
Colin, we have a listener. So I wanted to just know who we have on. Hello, who we have online?
Nancy Pelosi.
No, it's not Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, hi.
Hello. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Adirondacks, New York.
Okay, from New York.
Merry Christmas, New York.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for calling in, and please, you have the floor for a question with Jordan Maxwell.
Yeah, I had called Jordan on one of the up shows. I live in the Stanley Tool Cottage, which is sort of a Masonic design to the building. And I saw you guys live on YouTube, so I had to call in. I wanted to ask Jordan about the Mars Pluto event, middle January. I think they crash markets when that happens. I wonder if you're aware that that's what's going on, because the last one was October 2007.
Jordan?
No, I'm not aware of what you were talking about. Explain it a little bit better.
It's astrology. You have these alignments of planets, and they happen according to what's really a math formula.
Well, actually, we talked about it earlier in the show, in fact, with Jordan, about these alignments. You are saying there is a specific alignment coming up this January.
Yes, there's a market timer, #1 rated timer in America by the name of Arch Crawford, and he's pointed to the middle of January as being an alignment between Jupiter, Mars, Pluto, and of course Mercury, because it moves so fast. And that the last time this happened was October of 2007. There's a lot to sort of timing and so forth in markets. We have this meltdown going on with the repo markets right now. They're flooding the markets with money. I mean, this can't be good, right?
Well, you talk about October 2008, I think, because that's when it really crashed. The Lehman Brothers thing happened. I think it was October 2008. Did something happen in October 2007, or we're mixing things up here?
It was the same alignment. It was the alignment of Mars, Jupiter. Pluto apparently is an American a marker planet going back to 1776. And this is part of sort of the Masonic lore. God is clockmaker. The planets move according to a rhythm and a pace.
So you are announcing there will be basically a crash in the stock market, a crash that will bring the economy down again in the middle of January.
Yes, here's the thing, though. The guy that's really on top of this, his name is Arch Crawford,
and he runs a newsletter called Crawford Perspectives. And I've followed Arch for about 40 years, and I've never known him to be wrong. That's the problem with this. Now, you know, you're talking about astro theology, but there's something more physical to the connections. It may, in fact, affect our biology, our electrical flow through our bodies, and everything else.
That's
It
true.
causes these things to happen that we don't understand.
Jordan, I think that you will have a say on that, because I saw you were nodding with your head. And I mean, I know for a fact that the planets affect us, the stars affect us, everything that is around us, even the so-called black matter is not really like there is no matter in space. We have all kinds of things going on around us.
Yeah, of course we do. And I've been talking about astrology for many, many years, and I am totally convinced that there is a connection with our life on this earth in the astrological configurations in the heavens, where the sun is and where you were when you were born, where the sun was. I understand the concepts, and I know that Nostradamus is still famous today because of his astrological predictions, and it was an incredible time for the world to learn how the world actually works, how our solar system really works. And this is why we call Jesus. Jesus is God's Son, S-U-N. God's Son, the light of the world. Of course, the sun is the light of the world. And he has 12 helpers, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 brothers of Joseph, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 apostles. Everything in the Bible talks about 12. Why? Because the 12.
I can confirm that, because when I went through my Illuminati training in the AA back in 1993, when I was on the dark side of things, and I went through this initiation, and I remember vividly going through the 12 signs of the zodiac, and it was really incredible experience, which I lived and I relive sometimes in my mind, and I'm like shocked for what I have seen during those movements, because it was like 12 movements that you had to do that were following the analogy of the 12 signs of the zodiac.
Yeah.
And through these 12 movements that you were repeating, and you were repeating them faster and faster, then your mind will have to grasp certain communications that will come through from the future. And
Leo,
yes,
I'm receiving a communication here. This is Giorgio. I put some gel on him today. He's my special Christmas call, one of my little communicators here with the aliens in Alpha Centauri. And he's telling me that actually Uncle Donald is going to change the 22nd Amendment to become president forever, even after death.
Well,
And
I wouldn't mind that.
You know, have many millions between Facebook and Twitter. It's great. It's like owning a newspaper without the losses. It's incredible.
And he's going to catch George Soros just right on January, when all the conjunction is all together: Mars, Jupiter, the Reds, the Communists, the Socialists, all together in jail.
Colin, I would like to thank the listener who is still online with us for having called in and for having inspired us with this information. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, Leo, and Jordan and everyone. Really, thank you.
Thank
Colin
you.
here. Yeah, thank you for calling, man. Merry Christmas there in New York, and a Happy New Year.
And we are basically continuing for another
24 hours.
minutes, this show. We have only 70 minutes. So just guys, if you want to make another call, you can. The lines are open still. We have still Jordan with us. It's a great honor, as usual.
Call in 970-577-6369, 2020 Vision, and get a message approved by our Uncle Donald right here.
God bless you, and God bless America.
And make Christmas great again.
Let's make it's important that we make really this Christian holiday great again, especially because if the Democrats were in power, we'll probably, I don't know, be worshipping God knows what.
I know. Yeah.
They are, what I feel is like the cities ruled by these Democrats are becoming city ruled by Democrats, where people are increasingly possessed. They actually go and poop into shops. They do all kinds of things that, I mean, I don't even see this as being any more civilized country here in California, when you have so many things that remind us of a third world country in towns like San Francisco or LA. You used to live in LA. How do you
For
see
60 years, I lived in Los Angeles and Hollywood area.
LA?
And I had so many friends who would take me to locations where there were human sacrifices,
Oh my God.
where there were blood rituals going on. I
But
mean,
now it's not about the blood ritual, the human sacrifice. Now it's about these humans becoming zombies on meth and basically becoming possessed in front of you.
I know that, but that's what they make movies. They even making movies about zombies.
It's sad though to see that these cities are carelessly being kind of going sent almost backwards, no, towards the dark ages. It's like we have sickness that we thought didn't exist anymore that reappear, transmit.
Yep.
It's totally disgusting.
I know.
How can we stop all this, Jordan?
We can't. You cannot stop it. It's too big. It's been going for so long, and America has put up with the bad influence of teachers and university professors who are teaching the young people to overthrow the government. And so therefore we have the rock and roll, the revolutionary stuff going on in the 60s, the bringing in of narcotics in the 70s, the CIA bringing in narcotics and spreading drug abuse across America. The CIA.
Another phone call, Jordan. We have
My God, we got the hotline.
Okay, who we have online with
It's
us?
boiling there.
Oh, okay, so who we have? Hello, where are you calling from and your name?
I'm calling, this is Jason, I'm calling from Washington State, and I have a question for Leo and Jordan.
Okay, and your name? Your name? Because
Nobody asked me anything, man.
My name is Jason.
Okay, Jason. Perfect.
And my question is I've been looking into a new person out on the scene called Adam Green, and he seems to be finding all kinds of information about this Zionism that seemingly all these leaders around the world, even though they're not admitting it, they all seem to be a part of it, like including Putin, and especially Donald Trump.
Okay, can I interrupt you a second? I actually followed a little bit this Adam Green a couple of days, a few months ago, just to see what he was all about. Now, I understand that he accuses us, all of us at InfoWars, of being a bunch of Zionists and so on. The thing is but the thing is that we go back to what we have said at the beginning of this show. You have to really research this topic to understand it, and then to discern it, because otherwise you risk to become an anti-Semitic person. And Adam Green...
I've been looking at this for 20 years, actually.
Yeah. So
it's not like I haven't.
Sure.
What's important to understand is they call all these people actors, and it really looks like this Giuseppe Mazzini and this Luciferian Albert Pike, this plan they've had for a long, long time, is actually playing out.
Okay, let me block you there also. The actual, you can make a research, but I mean, you can find this also in my books. The Mazzini Pike connection, alleged connection, was built posthumous, and it was actually built on the whole fraudulent activities of Leo Taxil. This Leo Taxil was basically a guy, a Freemason, who was working for the Jesuits, who was a member of the Grand Orient of France, who decided to build this extraordinary amount of anti-Masonic propaganda the moment in which basically there was this division in Freemasonry in 1877. Basically, the Grand Orient of France became the home of all the atheists and the future communists like Trotsky, Lenin, and so on, that gave birth to the Grand Orient of the Russian people. But what happened is that basically they needed to throw dirt on the legitimate Freemasons who still believed in God. Because this 1877 schism in Freemasonry is very important here. One side believes in God still to this day, which is under the Grand Lodge of England. The other side, the Grand Orient of France, with people like Macron, for example, they are not only atheists, they are Satanists, because Paris was also, for many centuries, the capital of worldwide Satanism. Is the first place where Caterina de' Medici did her first black mass ever. So the thing here is that we need to understand, always to discern, and to understand also where this information is being coming to us from. So in my books, I explain how later on this whole thing about, of course, Mazzini wasn't a saint. I'm not saying that Mazzini was necessarily a good guy and didn't do bad things. And a lot of these people did bad things against Christianity, mostly because they were doing them against the Vatican to unify Italy. Because, as Jordan knows very well, for the unification of Italy, they had to basically find a way to fight the papal states and reduce them to basically this little thing, which is now the Vatican. But before, the papal states were the whole of the center of Italy. It was a big region. So they had to wait, and the Pope didn't want to give up on his temporal power. So when they created this animosity towards the church, unfortunately, they used and they inculcated satanic ideas. That's why you had people like Carducci with the hymn to Satan and whatever. So unfortunately, Italian Freemasonry was corrupt from that moment onwards. And actually, the roots of the P2 go back to that time, Jordan, as you know very well.
I know.
And so the thing when it comes to Leo Taxil's forgery is that still nowadays is very important to talk about it, because a lot of his misconception and also disinformation, imagine this. After 12 years, Leo Taxil came out in the open. He denounced everything. I have it here in a booklet, which is a very rare booklet. Of Leo.
Put a link there, Leo. You can share it. Leo Taxil.
Yes.
And the Le Mystery Franco. Franco
Leo Taxil, basically, now not many people know this, but I have made an extensive research with the leading historian and academics, also Masonic historians, and we found evidence that this guy, who basically portrayed Freemasonry as this big anti-Christian thing, every Friday meeting with Lucifer and all kinds of things, in the end, he himself was a tool of the Jesuits. So, of course, the Jesuits were always behind the scenes trying to pull their strings.
Always.
Then later on, Jordan, there is another guy who wrote another book, I think in the 1920s, and he created this whole thing with an alleged document regarding Mazzini and Pike and this whole thing about the free wars. Now, when we go also in search where this document is actually held, it's difficult to find it, but then we find where it's originated. We find it is through a Catholic bishop. And we find people in the Catholic faith who are actively playing and feeding this information, which is actually accurate, because we have seen that what they have prophesied, including the Third World War with the Muslims, is actually quite correct, not Jordan. But to blame it on and saying it's Mazzini or Pike, or I'm not saying that Mazzini or Pike were necessarily good people here, but we have to be historically accurate to not feed in unnecessary conspiracy when we have already so many real conspiracies.
Of course, I understand.
Even you have Roerich, Roerich in the 1920s, 30s.
Because this is a lot of based on the research that I've gotten from him. All of these fake religions that he has proven that are all false are being used to play everybody off against each other, while the elite get away with everything. And this is happening right now. Our rights are being slowly, piecemeal taken away by this administration in this country. I mean, they're connected to Bob Lubavitch, that are connected all over the world.
Yeah, but the thing
This
is,
happening.
listen, my friend, before we give the word, of course, to Jordan, he will answer in his own manner. The alternative is the Jesuits. The alternative is Hillary Clinton. The alternative is the Jesuits, and the Jesuits made a
Joe
deal.
Biden.
So no, and Joe Biden, who was last year in the Vatican presenting his candidacy.
Pocahontas.
Okay, no, just let me finish, Colin. The thing is very important here because you see, Trump has given us an opportunity. I know where you're coming from because I saw what Green is trying to push, this anti-Trump. So what are you pushing here? Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi? Well, if you're pushing Democrats and Jesuitry, you can go and fuck yourself. That's what I say. Sorry, from the bottom of my heart. This is a message for Green and his followers. I have a different perspective. I had to flee Italy. I had to flee Italy because I got persecuted by these people. I saw my son taken, I haven't seen for over 10 years. I have real suffering, not the bullshit of Green and his alleged conspiracy theories. Okay? Jordan,
I
please
can
have the
understand
floor.
I understand why you're saying that, but he uses information, his own people's words from their own magazines, their own books, their own videos, everything that they're saying.
But
they're
when
reproducible.
Like everyone else.
Yeah, but the problem is when you are citing, for example, the Leotaxil forgery, which everybody knows is a forgery, then it means that you're not evaluating well your sources. And it's very important to evaluate well where these sources, where it's all coming from, because there is a big heresy in the Jewish faith, and they have created a lot of damage for humanity. And the Rothschilds are part of it. And Baron Rothschild was in the Vatican in early November. And Jacob Rothschild met a couple of weeks ago with Prince Charles because of this. I'm not saying that these people are innocent, but to accuse me or accuse Alex Jones or accuse President Donald J. Trump is pure rubbish. And this guy is a communist.
I haven't accused anybody of
No.
I'm directing this to Jordan now. I'd like to talk to Jordan.
Sure. I'm not saying it wasn't addressed to you. I'm saying still Green and what he's pulling through his channels. Just so, not you. Jordan, please go. The floor is yours.
Well, I'm learning, just listening, and I'm learning. Continue with what you were talking about.
No, I mean...
Yes, together we will make America great again.
With or without Putin?
I mean, there is also the other thing, regarding. But the listener wanted an answer from you, Jordan. So let's be specific about the question. Can you repeat the question for Jordan, please?
Yes, Jordan. Based on your work and based on just a few others, I had to, spend 20 years fishing through riffraff to find what is true out there. And it appears, from what I can see, I'm not blaming anybody or anything, just based on what I can see, that all these fake religions are actually playing out for the protocols of Zion and other things that are out there for people to see. They are playing out just as planned, whether they're called forgeries or not. It's happening. And it seems like these people are all involved in secret societies, and this is all just a game. They call each other actors out in public. There's so many things. They'll give Masonic hand signals out in public. And it's becoming very obvious, with this double-headed eagle above these secret societies. They play both sides against the middle. And if all of the religions are false, and if Christianity is pushed really hard right now, it seems like they're going to try to create a clash amongst the people, to steer people away from the elite. The real problem here.
Okay, Jordan, you have cleared the answer. Now the question. Now we can go with the answer.
Well, as I said to you before, I believe that Christianity was developed purposely in Rome by Romans that were being led by extraterrestrial knowledge that has been brought to the earth. And this was the story of what was the Greek the Greek god who brought fire to the earth?
Prometheus.
Prometheus. And Prometheus brought fire to the earth that he got from the gods, and he brought down and gave it to the human race. The fire that Prometheus brought was the fire in the mind, the fire of revolution in the minds. And it was called the fire of Prometheus. This is what's on the fasci, on the dime, on the American dime, is a fasci torch. The Statue of Liberty is holding the torch of revolution, the torch of fire. And in front of the Rockefeller Brothers Rockefeller Plaza is a statue of Prometheus carrying the fire from heaven. So I'm saying that I believe that the religions and the political situation that we have on the earth today is being given to us. We're being led down the path to follow the path of a revolution, which is far, far bigger than we can imagine. We don't even begin to understand how big this problem really is.
Now, Jordan, it's definitely interesting your point of view, but it is your point of view. But the great thing about being in the West is that we can all have different points of view. Now, there will be a day, though, when this will not be permitted any longer.
Yeah, I think there's going to come a time when anything human is not going to be permitted very much longer. Human inquiry, people asking questions, people talking publicly about the world they live in, that's going to all end very soon. We're in the last and final part of the days where there's any human freedom left. And very soon there will be no time left for humans to question their government, to question their religion, to question anything. We're not supposed to think. You're supposed to be stupid. You unscrew your head and take your head off and take the brain out. Now you can be a Christian. Now you can be a religious person. Now you can vote because you have no brain. You don't think. You don't question anything. And this is why the human race is losing. We're losing every day. We're losing our freedoms. We're losing our minds. We're losing our industry.
Jordan, there will be, of course, those who are viewing us who will say Jordan is not having, though, that hope that a Christian should have in the period of Christmas of something positive that will eventually manifest. Through all these prophecies, there seems to be a point in which evil will be defeated. Do you?
Well, I have people telling me, well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I say, yeah, it's a train coming.
Guys, of course, Jordan is as controversial as ever. We still have somebody online, I think, on the phone.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, who we have on the phone?
Yes, my name is James. I actually go by Kuzmik. I am actually a UFO hunter.
Oh, yes.
On you from upstate New York, near New York City. I always been pro-Trump from the beginning, and I've been anti-Hillary Clinton because I know her background. My question is, why, when Hillary Clinton and John Podesta, they were mentioning that they were going to disclose the UFO files. They never did. Does Donald Trump, do you know that he has information in regards to extraterrestrials or UFOs?
You want to go?
Especially trying to jumpstart the space force. And if he does, why isn't he releasing? When these videos came out from the Navy that were all over the internet, he didn't really say that he was accepting that they were here already visiting. Does he know about the Eisenhower meetings that the Eisenhower had in Palm Springs, where they made the deal about having an exchange of technology for abductions, and then he changed his mind. The other thing is Donald Trump went to Fordham University here in New York. That's a Jesuit university. What's the relationship there? Was he a Jesuit, or did he switch to a different type of mentality other than the Jesuit? Or I don't know. That's something that I was going to inquire.
Okay.
And the last thing, do you think that Trump is part of a type of alien race that is fighting the Anunnaki, who have been controlling the world for a long time. That's it. That's not my question. Oh, and Tesla. What do you know about Donald Trump's uncle, who had access to FBI files that once Tesla died?
Sorry, brother.
That he.
Can I interrupt you a second? No, because your questions are now 4. I think you should stay online. Yeah. No, you should stay online and remind us this question, because I mean, I've already lost.
Too many questions.
Okay, no. Let's start from the first one, and first is going to be Jordan answering, and then I'm going to answer it. So
no, I think you need to answer first.
Okay, regarding which was the first question, because I lost here. It's like
the Hillary Clinton and Podesta.
Okay. Sure. No. This is very important that you gave me this question, because it's actually discussed in a chapter of my new book. So actually, I have it very handy here. It's like, okay. So what happened is this: John Podesta, you see, got connected with Pier Giorgio Bassi in Rome during 2016. During the electoral campaign, John Podesta went down to Rome and met with this guy, Pier Giorgio Bassi, who is the vice president of the Academy of the Illuminati, whose president, Grand Master, is Giuliano Di Bernardo. Connected directly with the Vatican, with the Secretary of State of the Vatican, Cardinal Parolin. And they have functioned with this new organization, which has been shaping up in the last 5 years, who has made an alliance with the ex-KGB, the people who basically study the UFO phenomenon in Moscow, and brought even Father, I think, Nunes, I think his name, who was the previous head of the astronomical sector at the Vatican. Now it's Father Costomagno. They brought him all the way to Russia. And so they were instrumental as also their connection, because the Jesuits are fully in charge of operations when it comes down to everything that is regards the UFOs, the aliens, and everything else. And that's why they have these big astronomical observatories also in Arizona, near where you live, also, Jordan, no? In Mount Graham, also they have this big telescope, also very controversial, also because the next door neighbor has this Lucifer telescope. And so on. But the thing is that John Podesta has been working with the Russians, aside from the uranium deal and all that, blah, blah, blah. John Podesta and his brother, who are friends of Marina Abramovich and like spirit cooking and occultism, and also, I mean, John Podesta is a pervert. If you go to his office in New York, the images he has on the walls are little children in various positions and all kinds of things. Just his depravity is out of question. But the thing is also that he is connected to this project with the Moscow headquarters directly under Putin, that since the very early days before the Russian Federation, we're talking here about the 1970s, already had contact with these Anunnakis. So they had the connection with these entities in Russia, and then they, of course, work together with the Vatican, and they are the enemies. So Trump is simply not unveiling the whole thing, because by unveiling this, it will simply put you in the hands of these entities who are very, very capable of manipulating humankind and acting a disinfo campaign, because they can make you believe they are your friends when they are not. These are demonic entities, first of all, aside from being extra-dimensional beings and what you call, and I might call, aliens. So this is one part of the answer. The other one is regarding Trump's connection to the Jesuits. The university you mentioned is not really full-on Jesuit university as Georgetown. He has not belonged to a secret society like the Stewards in Georgetown, or the Orb, which is now the latest secret society for the LGBTQ community in Georgetown, or whatever. He is a man of God who believes in Christianity, but hasn't really necessarily felt for the Jesuit trap of Ignazio Loyola's spirituality, like people like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi found even her husband at Georgetown University with the Jesuits. Of course, the Jesuits deliver a very good education. like the Salesians. Isn't that the case, Jordan?
Yes, but the Jesuits, I told you, and I asked if you knew about the Church of Jesus.
Yeah, sure. That's their headquarters, and then they have their headquarters of Borgo Santo Spirito, where they rule the world from their office there. And if you just cross on the other side, you have the headquarters of the Holy Sepulchre, and then you go down the road and you arrive all the way to St. Peter. Listen, Jordan, one thing about Rome, I was born there. I know like the inside and out of my pockets. I grew up. So it's like, but the thing about the Jesuits is, my father, for example, went to school with the Salesians. The Salesians with Don Bosco, who also made some very important prophecies about the future. You remember
the Salesian brothers,
Don Bosco? And they were very catastrophic prophecies. There is some very catastrophic prophecies also of the Holy Mary of the Salette regarding the destruction of Rome. I think that people need to understand the Vatican with the Jesuit Pope is really going against Christianity and against everything that Christianity holds dear, but also against the values of Catholicism, because what we are seeing today is not anymore anything. We can say that with the Second Vatican Council, that liberal Freemasonry finally achieved and conquered the whole of the Vatican, so they could then destroy the Christian faith and then finally unify everybody in this one world religion. We have seen the Pope in early November with the Imam of Al-Azhar. We have seen the Pope then bring the same document. It's called the Document for Brotherhood. He has brought it to Thailand to get blessed by a Buddhist monk. And he is going forward with the one world religion like no other before. So they want to destroy Christianity because they have already a new plan for you. And it's
Of course they do. Of course they do.
And they don't forget to mention they did the Amazonian synod that is the new religion and echo things and echo fascism. You know, that actually our Uncle Donald has something to say to Borgoglio, Cardinal Borgoglio. He knows him very well because we don't know if he's a communist because he's a stupid or he's a stupid because he's a communist, but you know he's got something to say.
From this day forward, it's
Francesco,
going
yeah,
to
Francesco.
be only America first.
Yeah, because our Uncle Donald, he puts the people right before everything else.
Jordan.
Right? There you go. That's why it's Americans first.
Okay. Now we want the answer of Jordan Maxwell, of course, on this very important topic. And I think also the listener wants to hear Jordan answer. And I think it's very important, Jordan, that you really let us know what is your point of view on this.
Well, I'm telling you, I think I don't know actually enough to comment on this particular point. I think probably you know more than I do on this point because of your life living in Italy and having a better understanding of the blood of the people. But my mother was Italian, full-blooded Italian. Her last name was Bruno. And
Giordano Bruno, so I mean,
Giordano Maxwelliano. Dammi un caffè, signore. Corto, alto, basso, molto bello. La pasta mi piace, rigatoni. Rigatoni tutta bella, ragazzi.
Mad moderate, as mad as a hat. But that's why we are great here and why the Leo Zagami show is the most controversial show and all controversy
on Earth. In the solar system. Martians are watching the show. Remember, Mars has no intelligent life. That's
another thing is, for example, the daughter of Donald J. Trump, of course, went also to a Jesuit school, but then she ended up marrying with a Jewish guy, no? And then everybody is attacking him, the son-in-law of Trump, saying, oh, he's in bed with the Zionists, blah, 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 blah. Guys, I want to tell you one thing. The alternative to Donald J. Trump is basically a dictatorship of the AI from Silicon Valley, and everybody else is just a puppet and acting.
I agree with you. No doubt about that. No doubt about it.
I'm Pocahontas.
I'm
Pocahontas in government, or Nancy Pelosi, or AC Brainless Ocasio. You know, my God.
It's very clear to us that what Nancy Pelosi is doing is just to dethrone or try to get Trump out of office, so then they can finally present to you Hillary Clinton, which has taken enough Botox, fillers, and stuff to be represented once again with a new candidacy. Let's remember who Hillary Clinton is. She is a criminal, a full-on criminal, an assassin. Isn't that the case, Jordan?
Can you see? I have a picture here, and I want you to see the picture. I'd love for everyone to be able to see it.
Of Hillary Clinton naked. Oh my God, no!
Can you see this picture?
No, we can see shit.
Okay, which
Put it up, Leo.
I don't have it here. Jordan, you should go on the share screen maybe, and I can get it on my side here at the studio.
Just below your picture, Jordan.
Say that again.
If you go below, there is a share screen function, and you can then click it, and then you have to click again, and then maybe we can see what you see.
We can see Hillary Clinton.
So I want to thanks to all.
Some news, Leo. You know, George Soros is being called out by Barr. You know.
Yeah.
So we are there. I think George Soros is the next prophecy. He's going to end up in jail in America.
No, but before he ends up in jail, we're going to end up with a revolution. And I think that Jordan is right on the spot with his prophecy of next October. Because you see, a guy like George Soros, who has invested 18 billion, I repeat, 18 billion of his own funds to do a revolution against Trump and against us conservatives to push his open society, he's not going to be arrested. He's going to wage war and unleash hell upon us.
He doesn't know American people.
Unfortunately, we are in front of a very, very dangerous individual.
He doesn't know the American spirit, man. We kick the British, we're going to kick George Soros' ass.
Thank you very much.
Kick him out of the freaking country. I'm coming there with my Apache helicopters and the Marines, man. I got 3 7-foot-tall Marines right here in Portugal. We're kicking some ass, man. The A team is coming back, baby.
Well, I hope
with Hannibal and Phoenix and Face and everyone there. So wait for us. We are going to get you, George Soros. We don't care about your billions, man. We are worth trillions. The American spirit. Right here.
Colin, what do I have to do to send a picture for you?
We have to disconnect now because we're still on the Eisenhower question.
No, I mean, if
James is on the Eisenhower question. I don't know. Telepathy. Jordan, transmit the message to me.
I could send it to you in an email.
Send it to me. Email, Skype, AI, through Star Wars, LGTB, whatever.
Okay, let's resume a bit of this.
Let's resume.
What I'm saying is that we have, at times, you see, Jordan is old school, so he doesn't know where to push the right button to transmit us the information that he has for us. So
Jordan, press the freaking button, man.
But we have the moderator, who is as mad as a hatter and is, of course, transmitting from... Where are you transmitting from today, Colin?
I don't know, dude. Nancy Pelosi, she's on drugs. Pocahontas too. I think I'm going to start doing drugs too, man.
Colin, where are you transmitting from?
I'm in northern Portugal.
Oh, wow.
And there is a new right-wing conservative group here. They have only one seat, but they're coming up.
Before we terminate our transmission today, maybe we should touch on something that you definitely know very well, and we discussed in private before going on the show a couple of days ago. What is happening in Catalonia? Because
Catalonia, a little shit territory in Spain with 3 freaking LGTB, 4 feminists, and 3 cowgirls that they want to be independent from the rest of the Spanish fiesta.
Okay, but the thing is that because now the European Union has moved against the sovereignty of Spain by nominating this guy who should be in jail instead, as they nominated him in parliament, and so they make him have immunity. This will shape a confrontation between the EU and Spain.
It's going to be, they're talking about it's Brexit, it's like Brexit, but it's Spain exit, So the Spaniards, they're pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
But they have nothing, man. They don't have nuclear weapons or military or anything. It's like Italy, man. It's like fiesta, bonita. Nothing's gonna happen. They're just gonna go on and drag on this problem for a long time. And Catalonians, they're all sissies. They're pussies, man.
That's
They
true.
have,
But it's also true that after Brexit, Italy is also starting to question, and also Germany is starting to question if Italy should stay in any way. But this whole thing of Brexit could trigger a series of countries like Poland, Spain,
Hungary.
So, what is your point of view regarding this, Jordan? Because we are finding ourselves in front of
civil war,
unprecedented situation here in Europe.
That's why I would love for you to see the picture I have, because it shows I have a picture of the Pope on his knees.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Stop. Actually, Jordan, I think you
send it to my email, Jordan.
No. Wait a second, because I think that Jordan sent me this pic, and it's a pic of Pope Roncalli, I think.
Yeah.
Brongoglio.
No. We're talking about the Pope that was nominated, I think, back in 1958.
Mother of God, that's ages ago.
And he was a Freemason. And what Jordan is trying to show us is very interesting, because he sent me this pic, and I should actually go and pick it up. Now I have it somewhere here, because this pic is actually them initiating this future Pope into Freemasonry.
But the article said that he is bowing before the Grand Orient Freemasons in Paris.
Yeah, and
he's on his knees with his hands closed and prayer on his knees before the Grand Master of the Grand Orient Freemasons. And the Grand Master is putting his cardinal hat on his head. And so it's showing that the priest is now on his knees with his hands.
I have it here, Jordan. I have
you got it, Leo.
I have it, so I'm gonna be able to show our viewers what you were talking about all this time. And he's actually, I must say, Jordan, this is actually quite a pic that you sent me.
Legendary. Well, he just scared the shit out of me for a while. I thought it was Hillary Clinton in 1956. And she existed at the time, man. I was like,
here we are.
God.
That's it.
Virgin
That's
Hillary.
the one. That's it.
Okay. So
that's it.
Well, I mean, this is...
But the article said that this was in Paris, and a secret meeting between the man to become Pope and the Knights of the Grand Orient. And Grand Orient Temple Freemasons.
Yeah, and let's not forget that this Pope will be the one who will start the Second Vatican Council that basically destroyed the Catholic faith and basically brought us Bergoglio, because without the Second Vatican Council, we would not have had liberation theology, we would not have had everything that in turn brought us.
The Grand Orient Freemasons are the powers behind the communist movement in Europe.
Like I said earlier, yes, you are absolutely right. And this pic of a Pope bending down to a Freemason of the Grand Orient of France, it's very serious stuff. It's very serious.
I know, it's very serious, and the implications are frightening, because it tells you something about the hierarchy of the Vatican. I went to
There is a possibility, though, that this photo could have been taken maybe in Istanbul, not in Paris. I
don't know. All I know is it said, the article said it was taken in Paris. I don't know.
It's possible, yeah. Well, it's possible that it is actually in Paris, because he was initiated originally, this guy, this future Papa Roncalli, I think in Istanbul, but this, of course, might be the moment in which he was actually chosen to conduct the destruction of the Catholic faith. Because what a lot of people don't know is that Cardinal Siri was actually elected Pope, not him, and that they intervened, stopping a legitimate election. They sabotaged it. And a lot of traditionalists in recent years have talked about this topic. And recently I was discussing it with somebody who actually from Canada, who feeds me usually with good information, but we clashed on this one. And I said, I spoke with the last seminarian of Cardinal Siri, who died in isolation. Because
Canadians.
he
They
was-
talk like us, they dress like us, but they're not like us.
No, but you don't understand. This guy was.
No, I understand Canadians. I want to say hi, Merry Christmas to all the Canadians. I understand why the socialists and the communists are so stupid now.
No, but Canada is, of course, is lost with Trudeau. It's completely lost. But going back to the
Trudeau, do you know this? That somebody said that he was Castro's, son.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like.
Somebody sent me a picture, but it looks like him, man. I told you there was something phony about Canadians, man. Always,
I will not generalize. There is a lot of good people in Canada. It's just that, unfortunately,
British Columbia.
Unfortunately, they just they don't know who to elect, and when they elect somebody, it's never the right person. It's just like the French, though. I mean, I should show you something that I've just picked up from French TV, from a recording made from French TV. It happened 10 days ago. Clashes between the French police and the French firemen.
And the pensioners. The pensioners also, they're fighting them.
French firemen, meaning
That too,
the force of the Republic against another force of the Republic, clashing and beating each other up to death. So this is happening now in France because of Macron, who is himself a member of the Grand Orient of France. I actually have a document that shows that I can pick up from my archives. But anyway, thank you very much, Jordan, for pointing that out, because it was really the beginning of the end for the Catholic faith. They forced the election of Papa Roncalli. Then when Roncalli died, they forced the election of Papa Montini. And both times, they actually had elected another guy. And that guy was just kicked out of office. So in the end, we had two fraudulent popes. And they conducted the Second Vatican Council that in turn finished in December 1965, ready for the year zero of Satanism, January 1966. And that was also the beginning of commercial Satanism, pop Satanism with Anton LaVey and all that. So thank you so much for that inspirational photo, Jordan. And thank you so much for being with us today.
I appreciate it. And thank you for having me. I appreciate being here with you.
I hope that you will join us again next year.
That will be fun to do. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. And we wish you a Merry Christmas.
You too.
I don't know if you believe, you don't believe, whatever. We talked about before the show about your wife introducing you to faith. But when I have a guy like you in front, I wish that Jesus enters your heart and gives you everything that you want, because you deserve it, Jordan.
Thank you.
You have been inspirational for so many of us in our young years when we were just starting all this. Both me, Alex Jones, David, everybody. Without you, we will not be here. So
I appreciate it. All I have tried to do was just to awaken my fellow man on the earth I live on, to awaken my fellow man to the realization that nothing is what you think it is. It's far bigger, far deeper, and far more sinister. And I wondered why in the human body, our heart is on the left side. Because in Latin, left is sinister. So God put your heart on the sinister side. The word sinister is left in Latin, and your heart is on the left side. The scripture says the heart is treacherous, and who can know it? Meaning the heart is sinister. Yeah, it's on the sinister side. Left is sinister. And that's why I think it's interesting. You have the sinister side, and then you have what is on the right side. And so if you're doing what is right, you're doing it on the right side. If you're not doing it on the right side, then you're not in the right, you're on the sinister side. And, and I can see sinister.
Sorry to you, Jordan, but I'm left-handed, so I'm going to have to...
You have a little bit of communist in you, Leo.
Element. Don't say I have communism in me. That's too much. But Jordan, I would like you to now give us a bit of shameless promotion and propaganda of your products, of what, how can people contribute and donate to you, because you deserve to have a great start to this new year, also with the promotion that comes from the show.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you very much again for your friendship. I hold your friendship in high regard, Leo.
Same here, Jordan. And so people, of course, can go to your website. They can find your books there. And
yes, my website is Jordan Maxwell Show. You have to add the word show, SHOW.
Okay.
Because there are other websites out there with my name, Jordan Maxwell, but it's not my website. My website is jordanmaxwellshow.com.
Let me show it here. We have it on the side here. Is
That's
this
it.
the right one, Jordan?
Yeah.
There it is.
Perfect.
And you will see up here that you can go on my research website. I have two websites. Original is Jordan Maxwell Show. And when you go there, you will see a link that says to join my research website. And my research website is filled with all of my research I've been doing over the years. It's all there. And I got a lot more coming every day. So you go on my research website.
And I also know that you will be receiving an award next year at the UFO conference that will be taking place in Nevada and in Laughlin.
Yeah, in Laughlin, Nevada, which is 50 miles south of Las Vegas.
So we also invite people to join you there. And we all wish you really a great Christmas and a happy New Year, Jordan, because you really deserve it and you have done so much for us.
Well,
So,
I appreciate it. And I thank you for your friendship.
God bless you, and God bless you, Colin, who are as usually a nonsense, but we love you for that. So.
Of course, but we have a message again from our supreme leader. And remember, Trump 2020 impeachment is going down. Democrats, they're going down too, and Uncle Donald is going up. And everyone, November 2020, vote Donald J. Trump.
ISIS has.
And let's keep
When you
America
open your
great.
heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
There's no way back, man. When you're a patriot, there's no way back.
God bless you all, guys, and all the people who have tuned in today. If you want to contribute, you can do it with the donate button you find on top of our channel. Our PayPal is also listed on the bottom of all our transmissions. And we are about to bring out my new book. Of course, I will send you a copy, Jordan. You're going to be one of the first ones to receive it. And so please send me your address in private. And of course, you too, nonsense.
Hey, what happened to Eisenhower and James? Is James still there?
Love you
Oh,
both.
you cut him off.
Love you both, and take care, guys. And you behave there in Portland.
I'll try. With no guarantees.
I'm not talking, I know that you will behave. I'm a bit worried about Colin.
Yeah.
They are coming. They're coming to get you in the Twilight Zone.
Well, I got news for you. I don't think they're coming. I think they're already here. They already got you.
Oh no, Jordan! Don't spoil it, man. Another Star Wars spoiler.
Okay.
Like Chewbacca and Luke Skywalker kissing each other in the mouth.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone. Thank you for